Harineena Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. जय श्री प्रभुपाद की, श्री गणेताय जी की, श्री राधादास बिहारी जी की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, और प्रेमानंदे. Okay, welcome back to our afternoon session. So we are still with Atri Muni. Okay, so now the deities are now replying to Atri Muni. So there Prabhupada in the purport explains that how both all the three, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, how they can be called as Jagadishvara, because in one sense they are the lords of the universe. Vishnu is the lord of the universe because of course he is the creator. Brahma is the lord of the universe because he is the secondary creator, and Shiva is the lord of the universe because he and his wife Parvati, they maintain the universe. So in one sense, the Jagadishvara, this title can be applicable to all the three of them. So they just wanted to play with Atri, so they came to him. Okay, please read the purport.
In other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotional service.
Yeah, so this is very, very important point which Prabhupada makes. That one's determination is fulfilled according to the strength of one's devotional service. So we might have some desire, but we should also deserve. If we don't deserve, then just having desire is good, but it is not good enough. It's good, but it is not good enough. Okay, so now we go on with the sons of Angira. Okay, please read the translations. Keep reading translations now.
Angira's wife Shraddha gave birth to 4 daughters named Srinivali, Kuhu, Rakha and Anumati.
Besides these 4 daughters, she also had another 2 sons. One of them was known as Uttatya, and the other was the learned scholar Brahaspati.
Okay.
Pulasya begot in his wife Havirbhu one son of named Agastya, who in his next birth became Dahragni. Beside him, Pulasya begot another very great and saintly son, whose name was Vishrava.
Vishrava had 2 wives. The first wife was Idavida, from whom Kuvera, the master of all Yakshas, was born. And the next wife was named Keshini, from whom 3 sons were born, Ravana, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishan.
Oh, we know them very well, right?
Gati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to 3 sons named Karma Srestha, Variyan and Sahisnu, and all of them were great sages.
Okay.
Kratru's wife Kriya gave birth to 60,000 great sages named Valkylias. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge.
By birth, they were Vanaprasthas, the sages. And he said that they were just height of one thumb. Hmm? Vanaprastha is from birth, yeah. They directly went for Vanaprastha.
The great sage Vasishtha begot in his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati, seven spotlessly great sages headed by the sage named Chitraketu.
The names of these seven sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulban, Vashubhradyan, and Dyuma. Some other very competent sons were born from Vasishta's other wife.
Okay.
Chitti, wife of sage Athava, gave birth to a son named Ashwashira by accepting a great vow called
Dadinchaya.
Dadinchya. Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Brigu.
So you will hear about Dadinchaya and how he got the name Ashwashira from 6th canto. Is related to the pastime of Vritrasura.
The sage Bhikkhu was highly fortunate. In his wife, known as Khyati, he begot two sons, named Dhata, Vidhata, and one daughter, named Shri, who was very much devoted to Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Dhata and Vidhata. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to two sons, Mrkanda and Prana. From Mrkanda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana, the sage Vedashira, whose son was Ushana, Shukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus, Kavi also belonged to the descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty. My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the descriptions of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Son of Brahma named Daksha.
Okay, next person, please.
So we got 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus eyes in his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma, and one daughter was given to Agni.
One of the remaining two daughters was given in charity to the Pitruloka, where she resides very amicably, and the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of the sinful persons from material entanglements. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Medha, Titiksha, Hri, and Murti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Subha. Maitri produced Prasad. Daya gave birth to Abhay. Shanti gave birth to Sukha. Tushti gave birth to Muda. Pushti gave birth to Smaya. Kriya gave birth to Yoga. Unnati gave birth to Darpa. Buddhi gave birth to Artha. Medha gave birth to Smriti. And Titiksha gave birth to Kshema. And Hri gave birth to Prashraya. Murti, a reservoir of all the respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
On the occasion of the appearance of Narayan, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil, and thus in all directions the air, the rivers, and the mountains became pleasant.
Yes.
Dharma with the wife Unnati, he gave birth to Dharma. So how Dharma can lead to Dharma?
Sometimes it can, when Unnati happens.
So that would be tinged with sin, then only it can lead to Dharma.
See, Unnati can be seen in two ways. Unnati can be seen as advancement in spirituality. Unnati also can be seen as advancement in material. When the focus is on material assets, then bad reactions also can come.
Dharma can lead to adharma.
Can. It's not very surprising. In Bhagavatam there are many examples. Like example of Nahusha. Nahusha was so pious that he was such a dharmic person that he was considered as replacement of Indra. He was so pious that when Indra was gone, then the sages actually requested him to become Indra. To become Indra is not so easy. It's not like some, becoming like President of America or something like that. Even people think that becoming President of America is great, but becoming Indra is very great. It's not an ordinary position. And he was chosen for that position. He was so nice. He was so great. He was so glorious. But that itself led to his downfall. So therefore, when Rishabhadev is saying, Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yat indriya prite apranoti na sadhu manye yata atmanoyam asannatapi klesasa dehaha. Jiva Goswami simply says that vikarma includes karma which is Bhagavat Bhagirmukha karma. Whether they are in the mode of piety or in mode of impiety really doesn't matter. As long as it is Bhagavat Bhagirmukha, then it should be considered as vikarma. So dharma can lead to adharma. It's not surprising. That is why Bhagavatam says that you should kick out dharma. See, dharma which is not clearly understood as parodharma or a subset of parodharma which tries to stand independently as purushartha is cheating. That is the very beginning of Bhagavatam. That's the very beginning of Bhagavatam. Like the sages are saying that Bhurini Bhuri Karmani Shrotavyani Vibhagashaha Atasado Atrayat Saram Samudritya Manishaya Bhuri Bhadraya Bhutanam Yenatma Suprasidati. So the very question of the sages is coming from the confusion of performing dharma. They're saying Bhurini Bhuri Karmani Shrotavyani Vibhagashaha means what? That there are different activities of dharma which are prescribed for different divisions of varna and ashrama. And we have heard them very well. But they themselves are the cause of confusion. Because you cannot make out the essence directly, that why somebody is supposed to do what somebody is not supposed to do. Why somebody is not supposed to do which somebody is allowed to do. Why it's like that. You can't really make out why it is like that. It's not so clear. It's not straightforward. Okay, forget, don't make it out. Just follow it. Just do it. Still it is not satisfactory. So therefore they are asking, and it is not only that it is not satisfactory, it is not beneficial to everybody equally. One man's dharma is creating problem for another man. So it's not beneficial across the board. When dharma tries to stand independently without being a subset of parodharma, then the directly conflict is there. So therefore they put two conditions. One is they said Bhuri Bhadraya Bhutanam. Means what? That for every living entity it should be auspicious. Not just it's limited to human being, not just limited to those who are having higher intelligence. Whether you are having higher intelligence, higher consciousness, lower consciousness, whether it's Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya, doesn't matter. It should be beneficial for everybody. This is the first condition. Second condition is that for those who can experience the presence of the soul, it should give them full satisfaction. Yenatma suprasidati. Hare Krishna. So they gave two conditions. So therefore, then the answer has to be, then he says, Savayapumsam parodharmo yato bhaktir adoksaje. Then he also puts a rider clause. What he says? Ahaituki apratihata eyatma suprasidati. He doesn't say that Savayapumsam parodharmo yato bhaktir adoksaje eyatma suprasidati. Whatever you want to do, you do, but eyatma suprasidati. Doesn't, no. He says that it has to have some particular characteristics. Then it will work. Even within the gambit of devotional service, for that to work properly, it should be properly defined. Then only it will work. Otherwise, it won't work. Otherwise, it might give limited benefit. Like Krishna says, okay, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe. Or he says, Vedeshu Yaggeshu Tapasachaiva Dhaneshu Yat Punyaphalam Pratishtam. So, but that's like a, like Prabhupada gives the example that the child is crying for the moon, the mother shows the reflection in the mirror, and then she says, catch the moon. But you are not catching the moon, you are catching the some reflection. So just getting one more human birth and then getting birth in some Brahmin family or rich family. Okay, something, but that's not the essence. That's not the essence. So therefore, Bhagavatam very strictly warns us that if you just get carried away, then your position is very dangerous. Very dangerous. So that is the whole point of fourth canto, Poshanam Tat Anugrahat. The whole point is that only. That what are you going to accept and what are you going to nourish being a devotee? See, being non-devotee, okay, you tell that, oh, these fellows are karmis, they are going to hell, these are demons, that, this, okay, forget. Because we are so, we are all always proud that we are devotees. Ah, wo to karmi hai, kya karega? We just dismiss the people outside. Okay, theek hai. But fourth canto is asking, okay, you are devotee, now what are you going to do? What are you going to nourish? That is going to decide your destiny. That is going to decide your destiny. So therefore, that is why Prabhupada says that spiritual life means like walking on razor's edge. Why Prabhupada says that? Just coming to Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna, and then eating prasad, and then saying Jai Gurudev, good, is better than saying Jai Rajini, Jai Amitabh. Much better than doing that. But that doesn't mean that we are done. Dharma could lead to adharma. Bhakti could lead to adharma. If it is not carefully practiced. If it is not carefully practiced. How many times we have had accidents in ISKCON? How many stalwarts we have lost? You cannot say that they are not stalwarts. You cannot say that they are not stalwarts. You cannot say that they did not give their sweat and blood. It will be wrong to say that. They gave their sweat and blood. They did what they did. But we also lost them. Why? Why? Because we are not careful. We are not careful. We take it for granted. We take it for granted. That how bhakti can, like how dharma can lead to adharma. Too much, man. We think like that. I am in the path of bhakti. How can something go wrong? Yes, it can go wrong. It can go wrong. If you leave room for tamaguna, if you leave room for rajoguna, if you leave room for satoguna, things can go astray. Go astray. And the baser the mode is, the severe the consequences are. So this is bhakti. Now what has become dharma? This is bhakti, right? Now what to speak of dharma, which does not have connection to bhakti? Bhagavatam doesn't even, respect such dharma. Haro abhaktasya kuto mahatguna? Straight question, no? Haro abhaktasya kuto mahatguna? What is this fellow? Manoratyena asati dhavato bahi. So, dharma could lead to adharma. Many examples in Bhagavatam. There is also this king who becomes lizard in 10th canto. So, the path of piety is also fraught with danger. Also fraught with danger. Okay? So we should not take dharma for granted, we should not take bhakti for granted, we should not take anything for granted, we should not take it even ourselves for granted. We should not think, अरे मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? भाई बहुत कुछ हो सकता है.
In the heavenly planets, bands began to play, and they showered flowers from the sky. The pacified sages chanted Vedic prayers. The denizens of heaven, known as the Gandharvas and Kinnaras, sang. The beautiful damsels of the heavenly planets danced. And in this way, at the time of the appearance of Narayan, all signs of good fortune were visible. Just at that time, great demigods like Brahma also offered their respectful prayers.
Oh, okay. Please read.
The demigods said, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the transcendental personality of Godhead, who created as his external energy this cosmic manifestation, which is situated in him as the air and clouds are situated in space, and who has now appeared in the form of Narayan Rishi in the house of Dharma.
Okay.
Let that supreme personality of Godheads, who is understood by truly authorized Vedic literatures and who has created peace and prosperity to destroy all calamities of the created world, be kind enough to bestow his glance upon the demigods. His merciful glance can supersede the beauty of the spotless lotus flower, which is the home of the goddess of fortune.
O Vidura, thus the demigods worshipped with prayers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as the sage Narayan. The Lord glanced upon them with mercy and then departed for Gandhamadan hill.
Okay.
That Narayan Rishi, who is partial expansion of Krishna has now appeared in the dynasty of Yadu and Kuru in the form of Krishna and Arjun, respectively, to mitigate the burden of the word.
Okay.
The predominating deity of fire begot in his wife, Swaha, 3 children named Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi, who exist by eating the oblations offered to the fire of sacrifice.
Okay.
From these 3 sons, another 45 descendants were generated, who are also fire gods. The total number of fire gods is therefore 49, including the fathers and the grandfather.
So 45 plus 3 plus 1.
These 49 fire gods are the beneficiaries of the oblation offered in Vedic sacrificial fire by impersonalist Brahmanas.
Okay.
The Agni Swatas, the Barhi Sadas, the Somyas and the Ajyapas are the Pitas. They are either Sagnik or Niragnik. The wife of all these Pitas is Swadha, who is the daughter of King Daksh.
Okay. Sagneya means those whose means is by fire. Anagneya means those whose means is without fire. So for the Pitas, there are 2 types of offering done. One type of offering is done with fire, and one type of offering is done without fire. So there are different type of Pitas who accept different type of offerings. So, okay.
Sudha was offered to the Pitas, begot 2 daughters named Bayuna and Dharini, both of whom were impersonalists and were expert in transcendental and Vedic knowledge.
The 16th daughter, whose name was Sati, was the wife of Lord Shiva. She could not produce a child, although she always faithfully engaged in the service of her husband.
The reason is that
Let's finish this.
The reason is that the Sati's father Daksha used to rebuke Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's faultlessness. Consequently, before attaining a mature age, Sati gave up her body by dint of yogic mystic power.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. No. Transcendental means beyond the 3 modes. Pure devotional service is transcendental to transcendental also. Transcendental means beyond the 3 modes. Any knowledge which is not influenced by the 3 modes is transcendental knowledge. Any knowledge which is influenced by prema, Bhagavad prema, is pure devotional service. So this is 2 different things. It's not just beyond the 3 modes is just the beginning of bhakti. It's a pre-qualification for practicing bhakti properly. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param, Krishna says. So, Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu. These 3 lines is actually transcendental platform. Okay. Then comes madbhaktim labate param. So, unless one comes to this Brahmabhuta platform, one cannot even understand what is pure devotional service. Currently, we have some theoretical understanding of pure devotional service, but we actually don't understand what is pure devotional service unless we are in that platform. So, therefore, pure devotional service is something which is very exalted, and within the realm of pure devotional service, Prema Bhakti is even more exalted. Within the realm of Prema Bhakti, Bhakti which actually expands into 5 rasas is like super exalted. And within those Bhakti which expands into 5 rasas, Bhakti which is in Madhurya is like super, super exalted. And within that bhakti which is in Madhurya, bhakti which is displayed by gopis is like somewhere which is beyond even imagination. And within that, the love of Srimati Radharani for Krishna is even greater. So, that is why Krishna Kavidas Goswami says that one should think about the type of mercy Lord Chaitanya has brought to this material world. If one is able to appreciate that mercy logically, then one will understand what type of magic Lord Chaitanya has done. So, transcendental is like somewhere in the basement, okay, and devotional service is like somewhere in the middle floor, pure devotional service in the middle floor, and Prema Bhakti is like somewhere in the top floor of, let us say, like a 100-story building. Yeah, like Prabhupada explains, no, in the first shloka purport to Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada actually writes that Bhagavad Gita contains all the knowledge which is given in the Vedic literature, and it also contains the knowledge which is beyond the Vedic literature. What is the knowledge which is given in the Vedic literature? The knowledge which is given in the Vedic literature is the supremacy of Lord Krishna. That if you read Vedic literature, you can understand Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is beyond the Vedic literature? What is given beyond the Vedic literature is the knowledge that Krishna is the perfect lover and I am supposed to fall in love with Krishna. That is not in the Vedic literature so directly. That's not in the Vedic literature so directly. It's there, but by simply reading Vedic literature, you cannot understand Krishna as a perfect lover. You can understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but you cannot understand Krishna as a perfect lover. So, in order to understand Krishna as a perfect lover, the preliminary study is Bhagavad Gita. So, that's why Prabhupada says that Bhagavad Gita contains the knowledge which is given in the Vedic literature and it is beyond the Vedic literature also. Yes.
In some scriptures, Swaha and Swatha both are considered to be the wife of Agni.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe, I can't deny. Maybe. Does it say that, oh, here it says Swada is offered to Pitas. Huh? So, we have to see the exact reason why they are said like that. Because it said that some of the Pitas are Sagnika and some of the Pitas are Anagnika. Okay. So, if it means from the context that she is the wife of Sagnika Pitas, then that's okay. That's okay. Okay. Okay, let's go to the last verse. We read the last verse, right? Yes. Yes, okay. So, thus in the Bhaktivedanta purport of 4th canto, 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Genealogical Table of the Daughter of Manus, Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay, we have I think one purport which is there, one or two purports which is there, we'll just read them. And then we jump into our main action. Okay, please read.
There are some philosophers called non-dualists who, because of their impersonal conception, think that varieties are false. In this verse, it is specifically stated, Yo Mayaya Virachitam. This indicates that the varieties are a manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, because the energy is non-different from the Godhead, the varieties are also factual. The material varieties may be temporary, but they are not false. They are a reflection of the spiritual varieties. Here the word prati chakshanaya, there are varieties, announces the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who appeared as Nara Narayana Rishi and who is the origin of all varieties of material nature.
Yeah, so we already saw this in the second canto, like in the second shloka of Chatushloki, this was very clear, that it is very clearly the Lord told Brahma that what is Maya, what is not Maya, what did he say, what is the second shloka of Chatushloki? Riteta me pratiyeta. What is the meaning? Yeah. So variety is Maya when it is not seen in connection with Krishna. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So, but when the same variety is seen in connection with Krishna and when it is used in Krishna's service, this no longer Maya. Is no longer Maya. Because variety is the nature of spiritual world. Variety is the nature of spiritual world. So, we know this. It's not like new philosophy. There is one word in the first canto, first shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, which defines the Vaishnava way of looking at the material world. What is that word? It's a very important word. I said first canto, first chapter, first shloka. It's a very important word. You should always remember that word. Where in that shloka, where is the material world described? Where is the description of material world in that shloka? Teja varimritam. What is the meaning of the word Amrisha? What is that? Almost factual. There is a difference between not factual and almost factual. Prabhupada's translation of Amrisha is almost factual. Why does he say almost factual? No, by definition, you just go by definition. What you're saying is correct, but that is like theology. But I'm just saying by definition. By definition, a fact should be fact in past, present, and future. Right? That is how a fact is. Fact should not be fact related to time. Okay? But when a fact becomes relative to time, you have to call it almost factual because at some point of time it is a fact. Is clear? Not clear. Not clear. Okay. I am sitting with you now and you are sitting with me now. Is it a fact or not? It is a fact. It is a fact because we are sitting here now. Right? But in the morning, let's say at 7 o'clock, you were also there in this premises. I was also there in this premises. But were we sitting together? No, it was not a fact because I was sitting in my room at 7 o'clock. I was not even in the temple hall. So, even though we were in the same space, confined space, we were not together. So, at that time it was not a fact. But now it is a fact. After 4:30 it will not be a fact. Only 1 hour. एक घंटे के बाद एक कैद मुक्त हो जाएगा. We can be free. So, after 4:30 it will not be a fact. But till it is 4:30 it is a fact. But it is a fact if you choose to remain here. Even up to 4:30 it is a fact if you choose to remain here. If you say, no, no, Prabhu, I have an important call, I need to go, then it is no longer a fact. So, since it is relative to time factor, it is called almost factual. But Whether you are in this hall or whether you are in some other hall, whether you are with me or whether you are with somebody, whether you are alone, whether you are sleeping, whether you are dancing, whatever you are doing, Krishna is always with you. Upadrishta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Paramatmeti Chapyukto Dehe Asmin Purusha Paraha. So that is a fact which is past, which is irrespective of past, present and future. If you say that no, Paramatma is only there in the material world, I will go to Vaikuntha, there is no Paramatma there. Yes, true, there is no Paramatma there, but there is Bhagavan there. If you say no, I will neither go to Vaikuntha nor be in the material world, I will go and merge in the Brahman. There is no Paramatma, there is no Bhagavan, but there is Brahman there. And then Bhagavatam says, Tattvam Yadgyanam Advayam. So, you cannot but be in the association of the Supreme Lord wherever you are, irrespective of time, place and circumstance. So, this is fact. This is fact. But you are with me, I am with you, this is almost factual. Is clear? The difference between almost factual and what is fact. What is factual? Is it clear? That's why this word Amrisha, even though it is one word, it's a complete definition of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy of how, or Vaishnava philosophy of how we look this material world. It's a very, very important word in the whole verse, Amrisha. And Prabhupada gives a wonderful translation. He says, almost factual. Okay, yes.
In Bhagavad Gita, air is called Shuchi, purifying.
Yeah.
Here it is called fire, Shuchi. And somewhere earth is also called purifying. All the elements, if we consider them, they are purifying. So, in what sense, which one is to be considered as purifying? For example, if someone has to, cloth is there, so it gets purified by the air. Dead body is there, then it gets purified by fire. If some pot is there, it gets purified by putting in the earth. So, like, what is the understanding by which we can understand which element has to purify this particular thing?
See, what should be purified by what is already given in Vedic literature. Because purification is a Vedic concept. Okay, that contamination and purification is a Vedic concept, and that concept exists in the material world. Okay, so what should be purified by what is already given in the Vedic literature, and according to time, place, and circumstance, even sound can be considered as purifier. Okay. Like suppose you cannot take bath. Okay, then simply by sound you can take bath. What do you have to do? You have to say Om Apatro Pavitra Va Sarvastam Gato Piva Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sabhaya Bhayantara Suchihi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu. That means you have actually taken bath. Okay. But for doing that there is circumstance. Not that you are in Mayapur and it is December and it's so cold and you don't want to take bath. So therefore you say, now I am going to take mantra snan. Like my spiritual master used to say one joke, okay, that one Brahman went to take bath in Ganga during the winter season, and then he saw one Brahman already taking bath and coming. So he was very surprised. Arey, so cold, how did you take bath? Then this Brahman said that I have a secret way of taking bath, don't tell anyone. He said, what is that way of taking bath? He said, I go to Ganga, I stand on the shore, I put my gamcha inside Ganga water, and then I say Ganga Gamcha Snan, Mai Snan, Gamcha Snan, Mai Snan, Gamcha Snan, Mai Snan. And then I take out the Gamcha, I dry it, then I tie the Gamcha and come back. So this is how I take bath. Then he said, oh, this is very nice idea. And then he started saying, Tu Snan, Mai Snan, Tu Snan, Mai Snan. So that is why in Vedic literature, morality is defined by how you act in a particular situation. It is not defined by what is your intention in a particular situation. It is defined by how you act in a particular situation. In Vedic literature, everything is given as action. It is not given not only as intention. So, how to take bath in what situation, what should purify what is already given in Vedic literature. It's all karma kanda stuff, but it's all very, very elaborate. But generally we understand that water is the basic purifier. So that's why whenever we want to purify, we touch water. That's what generally we understand. What is the basic purifier? But the other things are also purifiers. Fire is a purifier also. Different types, different things. Oh, okay. Theology means it deals with the science of God. Okay. Just basic definition deals with how we understand things, like quality of water, quality of air, quality of fire, quality of mind, quality of intelligence. These are all basically observational science. This is not theology. But theology is that how God creates everything. That's like theology. Right? That's theology. Philosophy. No, there's nothing called theosophy. Theology and philosophy. And basic things. Basic definitions. Okay. Any other question? Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next chapter, which is titled Daksha Curses Lord Shiva. Oh. Okay, let's chant the first sloka together. Vidura Uvacha Bhave Shilavatam Shreshte Daksho Duhritir Vatsalaha Vidvesham Akarot Kasmat Anandhyamritamatmajam Satim. Okay, please read. Whoever is supposed to read, please read.
Vidura inquired, why was Daksha, who was so affectionate towards the daughters, envious of Lord Shiva, who is the best among the gentle? Why did he neglect his daughter Sati?
Yeah, so he cannot understand that why these things happen. Okay.
Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the entire world, is free from enmity. He is a peaceful personality and is always satisfied in himself. He is the greatest among the demigods. How it is possible that Daksha could be inimical towards such an auspicious personality?
Okay, I have some notes, we'll see. Criticism, its cause and how it develops and what it ends up, Kutinati, even though. Daksha was a great devotee, he simply fell down because of this character. That this is very easily increased in devotional service. If we are envious of someone, we can naturally find fault with them. The so-called righteous anger is many times a reflection of materialistic envy. The indication is that the tendency of Daksha is that he cannot but criticize Shiva uncontrollably. So, such situation, it is better to turn the criticism to ourselves. Understood? I will explain. Okay. Daksha is a great devotee. Daksha is a great devotee. We should not think Daksha is some crazy guy. Okay. He is a great devotee. But he fell down because of this character. What is that character? That character which is easily increased in devotional service. What is that character? That character is that if you are envious of someone, we can naturally find fault with them. If you are envious of someone, we can naturally find fault with them. The so-called righteous anger is many times reflection of materialistic envy. We think that we are righteously angry about the other person's faults. We even think that we are his well-wisher. We even think that we are his well-wisher. That we think that just I want him to be a nice devotee. That is the reason why I want to criticize this person. That is the reason why I want to criticize this person. I have no ill intention towards him. I want him to improve. I like him. I love him. Huh? The indication is that this tendency of Daksha is that he cannot but criticize Shiva uncontrollably. It is very important to see that are we Bhagavad Darshi or are we Dosh Darshi? Very important to see. What happens is that when we come to ISKCON, and when we join ISKCON, we think that all devotees around us have 4 hands. Correct? Yes? No? We think every devotee we see has 4 hands. And somehow he jumped directly from Vaikuntha and he is standing here. We think like that. Then as time goes by, 2 hands vanish. 2 hands vanish. And instead of that, what happens? 2 horns come up. What comes up? 2 horns come up. Then we start seeing every devotee as devotees with 2 horns. How did this fellow come to Krishna consciousness? How did this fellow come to Krishna consciousness? So, it's very important to maintain appreciative attitude towards devotees irrespective of the amount of time we spend with them. Irrespective of the amount of time we spend with them. It is much better if the amount of time we spend with them is directly proportional to the appreciation we have for them. It is much better if the amount of time we spend with them is directly proportional to the appreciation we have for them. It's much better. Because every devotee, as time goes by, is making his own effort to improve in his own way. He is making his own effort to improve in his own way. But normally what happens, as we become more familiar, the amount of appreciation we have for them becomes inversely proportional to the time we spend with them. It's very unfortunate. This is Daksha mentality. This is what mentality? Daksha mentality. Then what we are doing? We are not doing Sankirtan Yajna, we are doing Daksha Yajna. You see, we think Daksha is some crazy guy who lived long time back and he had some problem with Shiva and unnecessarily he is sitting in the 4th canto and troubling us. But Daksha is not a crazy guy. Daksha Yajna is something which is not like far off from us. If we are not very careful, in the name of Sankirtan Yajna, we end up doing Daksha Yajna. It's just very subtle difference is there. To jump from this side to that side, very easy. And there is a lot of feel-good factor with Daksha Yajna. A lot of what factor? Feel-good factor is there with Daksha Yajna. You will see. There will be continuous feel-good factor in Daksha Yajna. Till the bubble breaks. Till the bubble breaks. But as long as the bubble is not broken, there is a lot of feel-good factor is there. Okay. So this is the whole point. That in such situation, it is better to turn the criticism to ourselves. It is better to turn the criticism to ourselves. Mind wants to criticize, right? Mind wants to criticize. So we can give best candidate for mind to criticize. Who is the best candidate for the mind to criticize? Our own self. We can tell the mind, unleash all your criticism very liberally. Whatever fault you want to find, you find millions of fault. I am available for you, Mr. Mind. Come and find all faults with me. So mind is satisfied. It has found fault. It will find hundreds of faults. And it's good for us. We can try to work on those faults. Right? So therefore, Daksha Yajna is a roller coaster ride. Okay.
My dear Maitreya, to part with one's life is very difficult. Would you kindly explain to me how such a son-in-law and father-in-law could quarrel so bitterly that a great goddess Sati could give up her life?
Yeah. So it's not so easy to just give up life. That so much of misunderstanding that she had to give up her life. Okay, please read.
The sage Maitreya said, in a former time, the leaders of the universal creation performed a great sacrifice in which all the great sages, philosophers, demigods, and fire gods assembled with their followers.
Okay, good.
When Daksha, the leader of the Prajapatis, entered that assembly, his personal bodily lustre as bright as the effulgence of the sun, the entire assembly was illuminated, and all the assembled personalities became insignificant in his presence.
So devotional service also gives us this type of effulgence. That we become very effulgent by practicing devotional service. We chant Hare Krishna every day, we get up early in the morning, we attend Mangalarati, and we live a very pure life, follow 4 regulative principles. We take bath 3 times a day, 2 times a day, and you know, this it gives us some sort of physical kind of attraction. People get attracted to devotees naturally because devotees look very cheerful, devotees look very effulgent, and generally people think that, oh, these guys are great. But we should also not think, oh, I am great. That is the problem. This is where the problem starts. People think generally, and they tell us also, अरे आप लोग तो महान आदमी है. So we should not think, हाँ 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 भी महान आदमी है. Okay, so Daksha entered. It was a great entry. He was looking very effulgent, and people became insignificant in his presence. Okay.
Influenced by his personal bodily lustre, all the fire gods and other participants in that great assembly, with the exception of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, gave up their own sitting places and stood in respect for Daksha.
Okay, good.
Daksha was adequately welcomed by the president of the great assembly, Lord Brahma. After offering Lord Brahma respect, Daksha, by the order of Brahma, properly took his seat.
Okay, so there was nothing wrong in the way Daksha was welcomed. Please understand. Okay, Daksha entered the assembly. He was looking very effulgent. He was looking great. So he was welcomed nicely by Brahma, and Brahma also gave him proper seat to take. So the way Daksha was received, and the way Daksha was glorified, and the way Daksha was led to his seat, there was nothing wrong in that. It's very important to understand this. Okay.
All sages, Brahmanas and fire gods, before taking his seat, however, Daksha was very much offended to see Lord Shiva sitting and not showing him any respect. At that time, Daksha became greatly angry and his eyes glowing. He began to speak very strongly against Lord Shiva.
Yes. No, Brahma asked Daksha to take his seat. See, Brahma is his father. Okay? So Brahma is not supposed to get up and receive his son. Right? So everybody else got up. So Brahma was sitting. because it's not the etiquette of Brahma for Brahma to get up and receive Daksha. So Brahma is sitting. That's okay, there's no problem. And Daksha also did not have any problem with Brahma for sitting. He had problem with Brahma for something else. Okay. So he was okay with Brahma sitting. And then Brahma, Brahma actually welcomed him. Brahma gave words of welcome to Daksha. Whatever words, he gave some words of welcome to Daksha. And Daksha came and offered respects to Brahma, which is proper because he is his father, he should offer respects to him. And then Brahma told him, okay, take your seat, this is your seat, you sit here. So everything happened nicely. So there is, till now there is no gadbad, everything is good. Okay. Yeah. Now before taking his seat, he got offended. I have some notes, let's see. If one feels he can do something against someone, he becomes angry. Otherwise, he becomes offended and depressed. So this is what happens. If one feels that he has some power to do something against someone, he becomes angry. Otherwise, he becomes very offended and depressed. So, okay, let's read some more. Okay.
All sages, brahmanas and fire gods present, please hear me with attention, for I speak about the manners of gentle persons. I do not speak out of ignorance or envy.
So what did he say? He said, I don't speak out of ignorance or envy. You are exactly speaking out of ignorance and envy. So that's why in Bengali they have one proverb, Ati Bhakti Chore Lakshan. They say Ati Bhakti Chore Lakshan. If someone comes and says, oh Prabhuji, I am very humble, I am nice devotee, then that means he is not very humble. He is not very humble. So he is saying, I don't speak out of ignorance or envy, because he knows that he is speaking out of ignorance and envy. Okay. Okay, please read, continue.
Shiva has spoiled the name and fame of the governors of the universe and has polluted the path of gentle manners. Because he is shameless, he does not know how to act.
Okay, so far so good.
He has already accepted himself as my subordinate by marrying my daughter in the presence of fire and brahmanas. He has married my daughter, who is equal to Gayatri, and has pretended to be just like an honest person.
Okay, better.
He has eyes like a monkey's, yet he has married my daughter, whose eyes are just like those of deer cub. Nevertheless, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words.
So now you please carefully consider that if he stands up and welcome, and if he speaks sweet words, his eyes will not become like monkey. You please carefully consider Daksha's statement. Okay. Daksha said his eyes are like monkey. Okay. And he married my daughter whose eyes are like a deer cub. He did not stand up and receive me, and he did not find it fit to welcome with me sweet words. Whether doing these things, how it is going to change his eyes? He is not going to change his eyes. His eyes are going to be what they are, right? So, this is the first sign of clear envy. First sign of clear envy. When you find fault with one person for no fault of his, and then try to tie it with some behavior, that means you are clearly envious of that person. That could be finding fault about his appearance. That could be finding fault about, the way his mannerism or the way he walks or something about his body. These things are given by birth. What anybody can do? One cannot do anything. They have a particular body, that body looks like that. Whether he has eyes like monkey or whether he has eyes like doe, it doesn't matter, because that's what they are born with. So, envy starts when we try to link things which are not related to each other. This is a clear sign of envy. He wanted to criticize Shiva's behavior. Okay? So he said Shiva misbehaved. Okay, let us agree that Shiva misbehaved. For a moment, let us agree that Shiva misbehaved. But he should simply talk about that misbehavior. He should not say that his eyes are looking like monkey. What is the connection with that misbehavior and eyes looking like monkey? You see how an envious mind works. You see how envious mind works. It's very important to know this. Because sometimes we could also be victim of such mentality. We simply don't liking a person the way the person looks physically. And then we start finding fault with the person more and more. So this is clear envy. This is clear envy. It's clear envy. Very, very graphic way how Daksha behaves. To give it up. That's the proper use of envy. No, you should not criticize anybody out of envy. No, you should not criticize anybody out of envy. Yeah. So that is not, see, what, first of all, to criticize someone, we should be in a position to criticize that person. Okay? And that position we should not assume. That position should be given by that person. Or that should be given by the person who is authority of that person. Okay? Like for example, if I am given a position, okay, by your authority to take care of you, then by that position I can say you are doing this is wrong, that is wrong, right? But I cannot just come and say that you are doing this wrong, that wrong, just because I have some white hair and you don't have white hair. It's not possible. It's not possible to do that, right? So, offering criticism in the circle of devotees is a very subtle, is a very it's a very sensitive thing. That I know that once my spiritual master gave some boka to some devotee because he did something wrong. Okay. Then 10 minutes later, he called the devotee and told him that I am sorry that I spoke to you very strongly. Please don't mind. Okay. So we know that getting, chastisement from spiritual master's mercy, that this, everything we know the whole philosophy, right? But still, he said sorry to the person, and that person directly at fault, he had to be criticized. And the person who is criticizing is the spiritual master, he is very much in a position to criticize, right? But still he called him and then he said, sorry, don't feel bad. So, criticizing a devotee is a very sensitive thing. First of all, we should think whether we should criticize or not. And second, we think whether we should have adhikar to criticize or not. So, if we have adhikar to criticize and if we think that we should criticize, then we should criticize in a manner that will be useful for them. Not just to satisfy our sense of criticism or satisfy our ego. Or because if we criticize and if it is not useful for them, what is the use? What is the use of the criticism? It's still not no use, right? How it will be useful to you?
For example, if I want someone is doing something and I'm getting affected by it negatively. So I criticize him. And then he does the thing in a way that becomes beneficial to him.
Not necessarily. If you criticize him, he may do in a way that is more harmful to you. That's also possible. ये कौन होता है मुझे आके टाप टूप बोलना, अभी दिखाता हूँ इसको क्या है करके, तो क्या होगा? That's exactly what happened in Daksha Yajna. That's exactly what happened in Daksha Yajna. Everybody is trying to show the other person his place. Everybody is trying to show the other person his place. And in the process, everybody lost their place. Right? So therefore, to think that I can criticize someone and I can get some benefit out of it is 99.99% in Kali Yuga, it will not work. You better go and talk to him nicely and buy something for him, nice prasad, and then tell him, Baba, mera piche chhod do. It works much better. Much better. Dadati pradignati guhya makati prasyati bhunte bhojete chaiva. Sadvidam prichi lakshanam works much better. See, I normally joke with people. Okay. I tell that in modern ISKCON people have some conception. What is the conception? They think that life is meant for living and philosophy is meant for preaching. What is that? And philosophy is meant for preaching. People think like that. But you should actually reverse it. What you should do? Life is meant for preaching and philosophy is meant for living. If you get this in your head, then you will read Bhagavatam in such a way that you want to live what you learn from it. Then it becomes very interesting. You understand, no? Then it becomes very interesting. Otherwise, you will read Bhagavatam, okay, abhi class dena hai, padho, kya padhna hai. Aur bolo, kya bolna hai. And then after that, you are done with it. You will think about it next day when you have to give class. Right? But if you actually understand that they are just devotees and they are just dealing with each other, and we are also devotees, we are dealing with each other, what lesson I can take from these people who are dealing with each other, then at least you will not think, arey, this fellow has eyes like monkey. Because you know the consequence of thinking like that. You know the consequence of thinking like that. And you will never try to show one devotee his place. Because you will actually see that in Daksha Yajna, in this first chapter, everybody is trying to show every other person his place. And what is the consequence? The consequence is very clear. Everybody lost their place. Nobody is winner in this game. Nobody is winner in this game. In this game of finding fault amongst the assembly of devotees, we should very clearly understand that there is no winner in this game. There is no winner in this game. So it's such a valuable lesson. Such a valuable lesson. And you see personalities, all of them are exalted. All of them are exalted. None of them are some crazy guys. All of them are exalted. Each of them is exalted by his own glory. Whether it is Daksha or Shiva or Nandi or Bhrigu or the different demigods, each of them are exalted by their own glory. But one man brought the entire assembly down. Daksha. One man. He brought the entire assembly down. Daksha. So therefore, it is very important to understand how authority works in ISKCON management. Very, very important to understand this. The principle of authority in ISKCON management is very, very important to understand. So when we finish this chapter, we will deal with that subject matter of what is the principle of being an authority in ISKCON. Okay. We have two authorities in this chapter. One authority is Daksha, other authority is Lord Shiva. There is also a third authority who is Brahma. Okay. It is very interesting to analyze them as authorities and to understand what it means to be an authority in a spiritual organization like ISKCON. Okay, let's read more.
I had no desire to give up my daughter to this person who has broken all rules of civility. Because of not observing the required rules and regulations, he is impure. But I was obliged to hand over my daughter to him, just one teaches the message of the Vedas to the Shudras.
So this deals with qualification. This deals with qualification. How do we judge people for their qualification? Do we judge them by seeing how physically they look? Do we judge them by how they behave with us? Or do we really judge them by what they are in Krishna consciousness? Now here Daksha as an authority is simply passing his judgment based on how he looks and based on how this person behaves with him, without considering what is that person's position in Krishna consciousness. Okay, please continue.
He lives in filthy places like crematoriums, and his companions are the ghosts and demons. Naked like a madman, sometimes laughing and sometimes crying. He smears crematorium ashes all over his body. He does not bathe regularly, and he ornaments his body with a garland of skulls and bones. Therefore, only in name he is Siva or auspicious. Actually, he is the most mad and inauspicious creature. Thus, he is very dear to crazy beings in the gross mode of ignorance, and he is their leader.
So, whatever is his glorification, he converted it as criticism. Okay, please read.
On the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him, although he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things.
So I have some notes. Let us see. Actually, Daksha was so proud that he was saying Brahma doesn't even deserve to be his father. We'll see the purport. Purport also something is there. Okay.
This is Maitreya continued.
Yeah,
Thus Daksha, seeing Lord Shiva sitting as if against him, washed his hands and mouth, cursed him in the following words.
Okay.
The demigods are eligible to share in the oblations of sacrifice, but Lord Shiva, who is the lowest of all the demigods, should not have share.
Okay. What is the next mistake he did, Daksha? That's okay. But what was his mistake? What was his mistake? Yeah. He did not ask Lord Shiva, why you did not stand up? See, this is a very important thing as a manager, that you might have decided that what is right and what is wrong, but still it is your duty to ask a person before person. You may have seen, you may have known, you may have decided, you may have inquired from everybody, but still it is a bound duty of an authority to ask the concerned person what is explanation, and hear that explanation with an open mind. Otherwise, we are not fit to be authority. Yes. So that is why being authority is not easy. That is why being authority is not easy. Okay. Whether, see, naturally we are authority when we come to Krishna consciousness. That is why in the first shloka of NOI, directly Rupa Goswami speaks about being an authority. Okay. He says, Vacha Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udropastha Vegam, Etan Vegam, Yosheheta Jiraha, Sarvam Apimam, Prithivim Sa Shishya. You may say, I am not going to accept any Shishya, so I don't need this. No. By taking human form of life, you have actually become authority. Because you have the intelligence either to destroy the other forms of life or to actually help the other forms of life in their progressive evolution in Krishna consciousness. Just that form, human form, makes you authority. So therefore, if you are not Dhira, if you don't control your Vega, you are going to destroy everybody else's Krishna consciousness, not only your own Krishna consciousness. So by nature, being in human form of life, we are meant to be authorities. So therefore, when we become spiritual authorities, we should actually train ourselves to be proper spiritual authorities. It's a very important thing we should train ourselves to be. We should train ourselves to be proper spiritual authorities. And especially when we are actually we are dealing with people, we should consciously not be judgmental about them without properly dealing with them, talking to them, understanding them, what is their problem, why they are like that, what is going on with them. It's very dangerous to actually do that. That is why being authority means, that's why I wanted to speak about the principle of authority also. It's a very important principle that we should understand. That being authority means being responsible. In material point of view, being authority simply means grabbing power and delivering sense gratification. Okay. This is what being authority in the material context means. Delivering sense gratification for yourself and delivering sense gratification for your subordinates. This is what being authority in material context means. But in spiritual context, being authority simply means that you are responsible. Authority starts with responsibility. And what is that responsibility? The responsibility is twofold. First is you yourself should become Krishna conscious. Second is that those who are dependent on you, you should make them Krishna conscious. This is the principle of authority Bhagavatam speaks about. Guru na sasyat, swajano na tasyat, pitana sasyat, janani na sasyat, daivam na tasyat, na patischa tasyat, na vimochayati samupetya mrityam. Bhagavatam speaks about the concept of authority from the purview of responsibility. It does not speak about authority from the purview of power. It speaks about authority from the purview of responsibility and service. It's a completely different understanding of what authority means. Daksha approaches authority from the sense of having power. That I have the power to curse, I will curse. And then he sets off a chain reaction where everyone approaches authority from the sense of power. Nobody is approaching authority from the sense of responsibility. And then the effect is disaster. 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 So, whenever, whatever, we may be small authority, we may be big authority, doesn't matter. We may have one person reporting to us, or we may be controlling hundreds of people, doesn't matter. But whether it is one person or hundreds of people, we should use the same principle of authority. What is that? Authority in Krishna consciousness comes from the position of responsibility, and that responsibility is twofold. What is the twofold responsibility? Make yourself Krishna conscious, make the other person Krishna conscious. If we can do that, we should become authority, otherwise we should not become authority. Bhagavatam is very clear about it. Bhagavatam is very clear about it. But we also have to do something, and when you do something, you will become authority. You see, you have to do something. When you do something, you will become authority. So therefore, it is necessary that we understand this principle of authority, because being authority in Krishna consciousness is unavoidable. It is unavoidable. That is why Daksha Yajna is a very powerful lesson in management. That it very clearly shows from the beginning that how to approach the position of authority. Very clearly shows from the beginning. Okay, let's read few more and close. Okay, please read.
Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, in spite of the request of all the members of the sacrificial assembly, Daksha, in great anger, cursed Lord Shiva and then left the assembly and went back to his home.
Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandiswar, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red, and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the Brahmanas present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words.
Okay.
Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent, and because of visualizing in duality will be bereft of transcendental knowledge.
Okay, so why Nandishwara became angry is justifiable. Because his master was cursed, it was not justice, and those who are responsible, they did not stop him. Okay, so Nandishwara's anger was justified, but the means with which he tried to dispense his anger is not justified. So, it's a very important thing to understand that sometimes your anger may be justified, but still you need to measure your actions properly. You need to carefully consider that how to act in a manner which is auspicious to everyone, including the person who is cause of your anger. It's very important to consider this, because it actually has your own Krishna consciousness also at stake. That is what will happen with Nandishwara. His anger was justified. His cursing the Brahmanas was justified. His cursing Daksha was justified in one sense. But because he chose to take that route, he himself also got cursed. So therefore, in any circumstance as a leader, we should never forget that leadership is coming from responsibility, not from authority. Never we should forget in Krishna consciousness. Never. The moment we forget it, then it will cause damage to everyone, including us. Okay, we'll stop here. So tomorrow we'll continue the episode of cursing and counter cursing amongst the assembly of exalted devotees. Okay, stop here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.